From WBNG, the Southern Tier's #1 local news. This is 12 News at 11.
Thanks for joining us at 11. I'm Jill Croce. We start with a look at a closure in Binghamton that the New York State alert system is calling major. According to 511 NY, the Bevere Street Bridge is currently closed in both directions. They say that is after a crash and fire on the bridge. However, Broome County Communications says there was no crash and the fire was under the bridge. Binghamton Police and Fire are closing down the area at US 11 and Shenango Street, and the DOT is responding to assist with the closure and bridge inspection. According to Broome Communications, the area will not be reopened until sometime in the morning. They say they do not know at this time what caused the fire. And in Tioga County, a local business is destroyed after a fire broke out early this morning. Authorities responded to the call at B&B Automotive Service and Restorations on West Creek Road and Candor around 7:30 a.m. The Weltonville Fire Department confirmed with us that no one was injured, but the building is a total loss. Candor Fire Department, Candor EMS, the Campville Fire Department, and the Newark Valley Fire Department all responded to the scene, and the fire is under investigation. Over to crime news. A Binghamton woman has been charged with stealing her deceased father-in-law's pension payments. That's according to the New York State Comptroller's Office. They say 58-year-old Joy Labar was charged with stealing nearly $32,000. The state retirement system became aware of the death of the father-in-law in July 2022 and stopped payments, which had been happening since his death in 2020. After the payments stopped, Labar called the retirement system claiming her father-in-law was alive but was not able to come to the phone because he was hard of hearing. Officials say in addition to ATM cash withdrawals, she used the stolen funds to purchase clothing and other items and pay her mortgage. The comptroller says Labar has been charged with grand larceny. She's due back in court on January 12th. The Tioga County Sheriff's Office is warning of a scam alert. The office says they've received an uptick of scam-related calls, more specifically, the grandparents scam call. During the grandparents scam, the caller claims to be a relative in some sort of distress, saying that they've been in a car accident or they've been arrested and they need you to send money right away. The office says to try to verify the caller's identity by asking questions that a stranger could not possibly know and call the family member on a phone number that you know to be genuine. Officials say if you become a victim, to reach out to local law enforcement and to report the incident. This holiday season, New York State Police will participate in a special enforcement initiative. It's to crack down on impaired and reckless driving. The campaign is part of the National Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over initiative. It runs today through the 1st, and drivers can expect to see sobriety checkpoints and more troopers on the roads. In addition to the DWI checkpoints and patrols, troopers will be watching for distracted drivers, vehicle occupants who are not buckled up, and drivers violating the move over law. During last year's crackdown, state police arrested 453 people for DWI and issued 32,000 tickets. Today, New York Governor Kathy Hochul signed 4 new laws that she says will help prevent price gouging and protect consumers. The first law prohibits the sale of medicine for an excessive price during a drug shortage. The second prohibits hospitals, healthcare professionals, and any ambulance from reporting an individual's medical debt charged to a medical card to credit agencies. Hochul says this is an extraordinary opportunity and builds on a bill that she signed last year.
Well, let's give everybody a break. And, you know, Big Pharma might call that the invisible hand of the free market, where they can do what they have to do. We have 2 other words for it. We call it price gouging. That is price gouging here in the state of New York.
The third bill requires businesses to notify consumers of an upcoming automatic renewal or continuous service charge 45 days prior to the charge. And the fourth bill requires businesses to clearly post the highest price that a consumer might pay for certain transactions, including any surcharges. And yesterday, we brought you details of several Southern Tier projects receiving some major funding from the state to go towards water infrastructure projects. Today, the Village of Endicott is going into more detail on the funds. The village says more than $200,000 grant was awarded as part of a requirement by New York State to develop a flow management plan. The goal of the project is to fix defects that have been identified in the Endicott wastewater treatment plant. They say that this funding will help complete phase 2 of the project. And today, Assemblywoman Donna Lupardo congratulated the village, saying in part, quote, upgrading their sewage system and stormwater connections will make a big difference in the future growth of the village. I know how hard they have worked on upgrades to their infrastructure in order to better serve area residents, end quote. U.S. Representative Mark Molinaro and Nick Langworthy announced almost $3 million in funding for a Tioga County school district. The lawmakers celebrated a $2.7 million grant headed to the Waverly Central School District through a grant from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The grant is intended for the operation of the Chemung Center for Innovation, formerly known as the Chemung Elementary School. This includes purchasing new equipment such as aquaculture supplies, computers, and software. According to the USDA, the grant program aims to provide affordable funding to rural community facilities. And the school superintendent had this to say on the funding, quote, the project's emphasis on providing students with access to coursework in agriculture, clean energy, drone technology, and engineering is not only timely, but also reflects a forward-thinking approach to education. By investing in these critical fields, the initiative not only supports the growth and diversification of the local economy, but also ensures that students are well equipped and the skills needed for the jobs of the future, end quote. This evening, residents gathered at Whitney Point High School to take part in the latest New York State Citizens Preparedness Corps training. Back in 2013, this effort was established through the state to help residents better navigate what may come their way and to learn about the different types of disasters. While leading the presentation, Captain Benjamin Masserini highlighted the supplies and organizations that exist to help support citizens. Overall, he says the presentation is to push citizens to be proactive, not reactive. Here's one major piece of advice.
We want you to be prepared to shelter in place for 7 to 10 days. And so that goes really with food, water, and heat. Do you have a way to stay warm in the winter? Do you have enough food to feed your family, you know, outside of, especially if you can't cook, right, or your refrigerator doesn't work because you're out of power? And then water. Water is one of the most important things.
So far, he believes 400,000 people in the state have been trained since this all started. Attendees received a handbook filled with emergency information, also emergency backpack filled with items to help with varying situations. To be informed of emergency information and to sign up for alerts, visit alert.ny.gov. A California company has announced plans to bring a rock climbing gym here to Broome County, allowing those who love the sport to no longer have to travel over an hour to that indoor gym. The company, called The Pad Climbing, currently runs 3 gyms in 2 states. The decision to open a Broome County location comes from the CEO's family ties to the area, a place that she spent summers growing up. The gym will feature climbing with ropes, bouldering, and a fitness center that will be open 24/7.
We offer free rental shoes, so there's no barrier to entry there. We don't like nickel and dime people. We're not like, oh, do you need you're going to pay the entry fee, but then also you're going to do this. We're really big in equity. We have a wonderful program called Climb for Community, and what it does is it enables anybody who has need to pay what they can.
They plan to open the location around late 2024. And if you're looking for a special gift to give someone for the holidays, the Owego Appalachian Sports Booster Club might just have the item you're looking for. The Booster Club is bringing back the famous Owego-opoly board game, which is based on Monopoly, but it's focused on the unique surroundings of Owego. The game follows the same rules as Monopoly, like purchasing property and collecting taxes. You can get the experience of making a trip around the sites and businesses of Owego right in the game.
For me, it's personally special. I love where I live. I love my community. I'm very proud of where I live. I'm proud of our athletes. So anything to make sure we have the money to give them the scholarships and the funds to do what they want to do and the things that they need.
The game is $40 and can be purchased at the Early Owego Antique Center at the corner of Main and Lake Streets downtown. And all the proceeds go to the athletes of the Owego Appalachian School District. And still to come your way tonight at 11, President Biden met today with families of Americans. But we take a look at one family in New York feeling the effects of a family member held in Afghanistan. Full report is after the break from CBS.